After months of intense negotiation between labor unions and the federal government over a new minimum wage, the federal government and labor unions finally agreed on a 70,000 naira as the new minimum wage. Today we are diving into the critical discussion on the newly approved 70,000 naira minimum wage by the federal government. Joining us is Comrade Martins Bolum, the chairman of the Trade Union Congress Delta State Council. Good morning, sir, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning,
Good morning, comrade. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
We'll be exploring the TUC's reaction, the implementation by state governors, and what this wage increase means for the average Nigerian worker. Once again, welcome and thank you so much for joining us, comrade.
Thank you very much.
All right. What is the Trade Union Congress official reaction to the federal government's approval of the 70,000 naira minimum wage?
It's a welcome development. We actually fought to get it higher, but considering every indices, everything that was considered, we settled for the 70,000, and it's a good one. So we welcome the federal government's initiative with the speed with which it was passed in the House. We welcome it. We're happy about that. Well, the problem now is that consequential adjustment is not there, so we're pressuring the federal government too to bring out the consequential adjustment, because we can't implement without the consequential adjustment.
What do you mean by consequential adjustment?
Okay, good. What the law says is that the least earning worker, level 1, step 1, for example, is at least 70,000. That's minimum.
Okay.
But then, those who are in level 16, level 17, level 8, 12, level 4, level 5 do not know what it's going to be. And it must be uniform. So it's the duty of Salaries and Wages Commission to come up with a chart. We'll call it consequential adjustment chart. That is what we will now use to discuss with our governors in the states. That is what we will use to discuss with the private sector to know that, so that everybody will earn equally. That's part of the law that was not sent to the House of Assembly, but it will be worked out by the executive, and they are working on it.
Okay, so when we're still looking at the minimum wage, when you say the least worker, 70,000, is it just basic salary or allowance included amounts to 70,000?
Total package.
Total package.
That's why it's called minimum wage. The total package for the least paid worker.
Okay. So,
you know, in public service, we hardly have level 1, step 1. But in the private sector, we may have somebody who is not leveled. So it means that your gardener at home will not be paid anything less than 70,000 naira. Your cook, your driver, your domestic staff, anybody you engage on a monthly salary must earn at least 70,000 naira.
but is there not a law that before this is implemented, the organization should have employed at least, I think, about 10 persons or thereabout, or for this new minimum wage?
There is nothing like that. You saw the law when it came. It didn't say that. It was as simple as there's a minimum wage for everybody. That is the nitty-gritty of the explanation of the law. The executive order, we expected that when the president was pronouncing, he would have made mention of that. But all those things will not come when the consequential adjustment is made and all that. But for God's sake, why would you employ somebody in this hard economy, even if it's one person, and pay the person less? We go to the same market. I'm not an advocate of those who believe that if you are engaging less than 10 persons, you are free to pay them anything. That's against the spirit of the law. The law says minimum wage for everybody working in Nigeria. So even if it's one person you are employing, you pay the minimum wage.
Okay. Does the TUC believe that 70,000 naira is a living wage for civil servants, considering the current economic reality?
What was passed into law is not a living wage. It's the minimum wage, national minimum wage, not a living wage. A living wage is a different kettle of tea altogether. But for now, we can make do with the national minimum wage of 70,000. We'll try it out for 3 years. After 3 years, it will be reviewed. That's what the law says.
Okay, from 250,000 naira that the TUC and the NLC were negotiating for to 70,000 naira. Do you really see that as something that Nigerian workers are happy with?
Well, we should also remember that the 70,000 naira is a 135% increase from the 30,000 we were being paid before. Like I usually tell people, if you go to war and you kill a dog at war, you have tried. If you had opportunity, you would have killed a human being. So we also consider the economy, we consider, as we are considering everything that is put into it. Mind you, the minimum wage is not for public servants only. It's for everybody. And when you say you pay a minimum wage of this amount, you yourself will pay, because everybody engages somebody somewhere. And we're looking at what we can try and see if it can cushion the effects of the hardship. So I believe it will have a serious effect, because with the minimum wage of 70,000, more money will come into circulation, people will invest, people will do some other things, and the economy will begin to revive.
Okay. Now, considering that and the palpation of how the people feel towards that amount and all of that, also during the negotiation, the NGF and Nigeria they came up, governors were very vocal. At that point, they even said they could not pay 60,000 naira. So what changed? Is it that the president used his veto power, or now the governors have accepted to pay the 70,000 naira?
The same governors who we said they cannot pay salary are eager to pay the 70,000.
They are eager.
Yes. For example, so many state governments have said they want to start now. It's actually the labor that is telling them, hold on, let's get the consequential adjustment. Just yesterday, we met with the committee for Delta State. They had the State Executive Council meeting the day before yesterday, and the governor insisted that a committee be set up immediately, and that the committee must meet with organized labor immediately, that he wants to pay. Which is very good. We acknowledge that, we thanked him for that, because people have been asking, will state government, will governor pay, will Delta State pay? Of course he's willing to pay. So they met with us yesterday. I was invited to the meeting, and we agreed that we wait for the consequential adjustment to come. So labor was, he now charged labor to put pressure on the Salaries and Wages Commission to bring out the consequential adjustment so that it can commence. Mind you, why they are still eager is that they feel the pulse of the people. They feel the pain. And aside from that, if they delay and they are made to pay arrears, they may not be able to carry it. So they want to start immediately, which means there's no governor who has said that he will not pay. They have all agreed. The income of the states increased because of removal of subsidy. And if it has increased, even when it didn't increase, there are ways of doing it. They will be able to do it.
So what you are saying to Deltans unequivocally is that the Delta State governor is willing to pay the 70,000 naira minimum wage.
Our governor is not only willing, but he's ready to pay the 70,000 naira minimum wage. We have a governor who feels for the workers and is eager, not just willing, eager. In the past, it's labor that will invite government, say, please set up a committee. This time, he set up a committee and instructed that they must meet with us. And we met yesterday.
Okay. Now, just like Ogaga said, it is on record that some state governors have expressed concerns that they cannot afford to pay the 70,000 naira minimum wage. What measures does the TUC suggest state governments take to ensure that they meet up with this wage obligation?
Well, that statement was made before the passing of the law. Okay. So since the law was passed, I don't think any state government has said they will not be able to pay again. They were consulted even before the president sent it to the House of Assembly for passage. He consulted all stakeholders, including labor, because the governors, and they have all agreed to pay. And mind you, the law provides for punishment for any employer who refuses to implement. And the organized labor is ready to take it to the grassroots. If any state fails to implement, the whole national workforce will move them to that state to enforce it.
Do you foresee some states struggling than other states, like
there is no state that will struggle. My dear, there is no state that does not have the capacity to pay.
Comrade,
I don't believe
Comrade, you
that.
sound very certain, but you are aware that even some states were yet to start paying the 30,000 naira minimum wage in full.
Political will. It was merely political will. They manipulated it. The political will to pay. Some of those states were buying vehicles, they were doing some projects that were not even for the people.
But Labour, as at then, did not see that it was enforced. So why should the Nigerian people trust the NLC and TUC, the organized labor, that they can fight for a 70,000 naira when they did not fight for 30,000 naira?
Okay, let me bring you back to what happened recently. Okay. In the past, the issue of minimum wage negotiations never went the way this last one went.
Okay.
There was a tripartite committee, everybody agreed, and it was so much stressed, and we agreed. That of 30,000, yes, we discussed it, but it didn't go this way. So everybody is aware. We are more conscious of the fact. And when 30,000 was set, the situation of the economy and it was not this bad. Now it is terrible. So everybody will comply. I'm assuring you.
Okay.
Don't worry, we will go out.
Tell us, what step is the TUC planning to take if any of the state government refuses to implement the new minimum wage?
Simple, we mobilize the whole country, not just the state. In the past, it was left for the state councils. But this time, the entire TUC, the entire NLC, the labor in the whole country will mobilize to that state. We will take our dwelling place in that state, and the governor will have to host all of us.
Okay, so now this is an extension from that question.
Yes.
What if it's the private sector?
We mobilize, we shut them down. Yes.
So what happens to the staff that were earning, let's say, 50,000 naira? They will lose the whole 50,000 naira now.
Why would they lose the whole 50,000? They must pay. We'll shut them down, they pay. Would you think they want to let their business go because they don't want to pay the minimum wage? They will pay. They all agreed. We had a consensus. The private sector was involved in the negotiations. They are ready. Once the constitutional adjustment comes, mind you, most private sector government big companies were paying more than 70,000.
Okay.
Most of them already.
The TUC, is there a timeline given to state governors to implement this new minimum wage?
The timeline is as soon as the consequential adjustment comes, they will start implementation. They are eager to implement fast because if they don't, they will not be faced with arrears. And they don't. No state government wants to pay arrears because it's bulky. Mind 135% increment. So if you miss out 1 month, it's going to be heavy on you. So economically or talking about wisdom of management, it is in their own interest that they start implementing immediately.
So who pushes for this consequential adjustment? Is it still
Yes,
Labour?
ordinarily it's the federal government that is supposed to have rolled it out immediately.
Okay.
But like I just came back from a national delegates conference of the Association of Senior Civil Servants, because I'm also the chairman of Association of Senior Civil Servants. And there, part of our communique was that we move the Salaries and Wages Commission to immediately bring out the consequential adjustments. As at yesterday, when I was going in for the meeting with government yesterday, I called the Secretary General. He said he was already in National Wages and Commission office in Abuja. They are pressuring them to complete the assignment and bring it out. NLC Secretary General was also there. So labor is pressuring. But we don't want it done haphazardly so that the workers will not be cheated. We'll also look at what they have done and agree that is right. Then we roll it out.
So we don't have a time frame that we're looking at. Let's say in the next 2 months, hopefully.
2 months is too far. I'm talking a matter of days and weeks.
Okay.
It will come out by God's grace.
Okay. What strategies does the TUC have in place to ensure that civil servants are not unfairly treated during this transition to the new wage?
That is what I'm telling you. The strategy is that we must work with the national charts so that everybody is paid equally.
Okay.
There is a chart, there is a way it's worked out. We call it consequential adjustment. Once that chart's come, we stay by that chart.
Okay.
No more. The negotiation shouldn't be whether we'll be able to pay with the chart. The state government wants to see the chart so that they know what is going to cost them. Employers of labor wants to see the chart so that they know what is going to cost them. But that chart, once it comes out, it becomes a document that must not be tampered with.
Okay, so now let me hold brief for the government a little. So we've also had conversations, especially during the minimum wage negotiation process. We've had some state governments and all of that talk about even the work ethics of workers. So what do you have to say to workers since there is a pay rise? What do you have to say to workers that abscond from their duty post and all of that? What do you have to say to them?
My dear, the workers are doing well.
Okay.
They have always tried. You've been on duty. You stay here almost 24 hours. Are you not a worker? I don't have closing time in my office. Even though I'm a labor leader, I'm always in my office. My primary assignment is paramount. Most workers, even when they never had money to pay transport, they find their way to work. Even when they were paying them 30,000 naira minimum wage and it couldn't take them home, they still found their way to work. So I praise the workers. They will put in more. They will do better. They will do better. They have been trying their best. Things have been working. I don't believe that there is a poor work ethics that people don't go to work. No. Anytime I come here, I see people on duty. You're a worker. Go to any ministry, you see them on duty. Go to any office, you see them on duty.
Okay.
So you can't say the workers are not working. The workers are working. That's why we're asking for a better pay.
Okay.
Because we're already working. Then with the new minimum wage paid, they will put in a better effort. It will always get better. You can never finish the work in the farm in one day.
Okay.
But we'll do better.
How can the TUC or does the TUC have plans to work with other labor unions like the NLC to present a united front in dealing with state government? Because we've seen cases where the TUC is saying one thing, the NLC is saying another thing. So this time around, is the TUC working with other labor unions to present a united front?
What we have in Delta State and mostly is organized labor. In organized labor, you have the TUC, you have the NLC. We speak with one voice. I just told you we were in a meeting yesterday, myself and TUC chairman. We spoke. Actually, at the meeting, he was the one that spoke. We met before the meeting and we agreed on what we were going to say. I said, you present it. After he presented, I just said, I concur, because that is what we agreed.
Okay.
And that is one front. We go there as organized labor. When we get there, we don't talk of TUC position or NLC position. And that is what happens at the national level and at all levels, because the problem is the same. The solution must be the same. So we have organized labor and not TUC or NLC.
All right. Are there legal avenues that the TUC is planning to use if the state governments fail to comply with this new minimum wage?
The law provides for that. Sanctions are there. If it gets to that, we'll do that. We have our councils waiting. If we have to sue any state government, we will do that. But I know we won't get to that. They will pay. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. You talked about the consequential adjustment. And I'm just getting to know about the consequential adjustment. You just educated me on that, because on different social media platforms, I've seen people posting and sending messages of the new wage, how it will be, and other persons will come out to say this is not how it will be. So is the TUC planning to educate its members on their rights and the details of the new minimum wage after the consequential adjustment has been settled? Does the TUC have plans to educate workers on their rights and the structure of the new minimum wage?
Yes, we do. We have already started. We have our platforms. We've already started talking to them. What I'm even doing now is part of the education.
Okay.
They understand it. Our plan is not only to educate them on the implementation of the new minimum wage, also to educate the management of the new wage. Because when money enters your hand, you begin to do things that you are not supposed to do. So we're already talking to our members that the new minimum wage that is going to come is not a bonus. So you don't go and marry new wives or acquire more girlfriends, or you begin to buy car when you don't need another car, or you begin to throw parties. We have to invest. And one of the ways we have to invest is we have to put ourselves in a position to help drive down the prices of commodity in the market. You have to do bulk purchases, you have to do invest. Some of our members will not get involved in acquiring these foodstuffs and reselling. Those things will drive down the cost of these things. And we can put ourselves into cooperatives. We already have cooperatives. You can increase your stake in the cooperative and let the cooperative do bulk purchases and distribute to members. By so doing, the price of things in the market will come down because there will be competition. There will be more money and there will be more items to purchase. So we should look at how we use it to feed ourselves and feed our family. Mind you, school fees will also increase. It has already increased because cost of living is high. So we have to pay school fees. So this minimum wage is meant to help us solve these principal problems, economic issues, not marrying or drinking, throwing parties, no. So those are part of the education. So it's not just enough to tell them that implementation, educate them. We also educate them, tell them on how to manage the wage so that it will be better for everybody at the end of the day.
One of the fears of the people in relation to the increment of the minimum wage is also the increment of the cost of goods and services out there. What does organized labor have any strategy in place to help mitigate this, to help put this in check? Because now the news is out there that a new minimum wage has been approved. So the landlord, the transporter, the person giving out a service is saying, okay, there's more money in circulation now, so I have to increase my income.
Because I have to pay my workers too.
Increasing my charge.
Okay. Interestingly, simple economics. When there is increase in supply, the price drops. I've just told you, with the inflow of more money, more persons will participate. And when they participate, there will be increase in supplies and prices might come down. It does not necessarily mean that because there is more money in circulation, people are not able to afford it. Few persons are the ones doing this business now, so they take up the prices.
Okay.
And aside from that, government is not only looking at just paying minimum wage. At the meeting yesterday, government made it clear that they're also looking at security issues, how to ginger the economy to make things so that the minimum wage that will be received will be meaningful. You can use it. They are looking at how to reduce cost of living. Because if you pocket the minimum wage in your pocket and you are not able to go home with it, it's meaningless.
Okay.
So with the attention that is being given to security, especially in Delta State, the attention that is being given to commodities and all these things that will reduce the cost of living, the minimum wage will be more meaningful and valuable in the hands of the workers.
Okay.
And mind you, the minimum wage for the worker means more money to the dependents.
All right. Is this TUC okay with the review, the 3-year review of the minimum wage? Or does the TUC think there's any lasting solution to the recurring issue of minimum wage?
No, it's not a recurring. It used to be 5 years in the past. 3 years is fine. We try something out for 3 years and we'll see whether we review. And mind you, review does not necessarily mean upward. If the economy recovers, the review can be downward. So we pray that Nigeria gets to that level. No, we pray that Nigeria gets to that level.
Yes.
If we get to that level, why not? If Naira recovers, why not?
Yes.
We review downwards.
Okay. All right. Finally, what message do you have for civil servants and the public concerning the new minimum wage and negotiations with the
My
state
message
government?
is simple. Please be guided. The minimum wage is coming. Don't make useless expenditures. It is not a bonus. It's your earning. Try to apply it. Do 1 or 2 things that can bring you more for money. Don't just, but then take care of your feeding, your health, and take care of yourself. But try to invest a little. Even if it is 25% of your entire earning, do little investment and earn more money, and the system will be better.
Thank you so much, Comrade Martins Bolum, the Chairman, Trade Union Congress at Delta State Council. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us.
Thank you.
All right, you've heard it from the TUC Chairman. Make sure that as we are waiting for the new minimum wage, make sure you have plans to invest and use your money wisely. He has assured us that the TUC and the NLC, the organized labor in Delta State, that they are here to fight for the workers, to make sure that the state governor and the state government pays the new minimum wage in Delta State and in other states as well. As a wrap up, Ogaga, your last word.
All right, thank you very much, Comrade, for bringing the good news to us and to the Delta State government for the willingness to want to implement the new minimum wage. And I also want to speak out to that person out there in business or whatsoever. It's not the increment in the minimum wage. It's not an avenue for you to extort your fellow man also try to make society better, because you run society alongside government, make the cost of living fair for one another. It is I, Ogaga Kama, thanking you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for joining us this Friday morning. On behalf of the production crew led by our producer Francis Ofude, we say thank you. This is Blessing Lucia Wada signing off. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.